Hi everyone.
Hello.
Here we are again. Another press conference. It's been a while, hasn't it, since we've seen
Yeah,
Witty?
it was really strange because it kind of takes us back to all the trauma of the last 18 months.
Yeah, it really does. Really did. I thought, did anyone else think Boris...
Is it 18 months or is it 2 years? What
No,
is it?
it's 15 months. It's
15
March, April,
months.
May,
15 months, yeah, 15 months.
Did anyone else think Boris was a bit bumbly?
Well, he's
I mean,
always
more,
been
no,
bumbly.
I know, but a bit more
I'm starting
bumbly
to
than
wonder
normal.
if he's got a bit of brain fog.
What, from long COVID? Or maybe he just had a really maybe he hammered it on the way out of G7 at the barbecue.
They probably got rat-arsed on the last night. Rumours are that they did.
Yeah. So guys, there we go. Not a surprise. I think I was saying to Nads as we went into it, I was pretty confident. We were all pretty confident he was going to say July 19th. I think we were all wondering whether he was going to say, definitively. He just keeps saying the word terminus. It's the end of the line. It's an end point rather than a starting of the end point.
Here's what I think. Explained in the way that it makes total sense to wait another 4 weeks. It makes total sense. But, as Mark said, what we would like to hear from them is that they will close the borders for 4 weeks as well until we're all vaccinated. Because if we get another little fucker come in, which he did have that caveat all the way through, as long as.
But that as long as, did anyone else see the slide that Whitty put up saying, if we'd been just dealing with the Kent variant, we'd have been coming out of everything
Everything would have been
because
lifted.
there was virtually nothing left.
Can't believe
Which
it.
kind of the elephant in the room is that this government's policy on air travel and borders
Doesn't
allowed
work.
the Indian variant to come in, and unless they change something significantly, we have the potential in just 4 weeks for another variant to come in, or for the Indian variant to mutate again.
And this is, again, it happens so often with so many of these announcements is they told us what they need us to do, but we wanted to hear what they were going to do. Yes, they're carrying on with the brilliant vaccination programme, but, and they quoted back at us 54% want this lockdown and, want the restriction of the lifting. But also, there doesn't seem to be any mind paid to the fact that a huge amount of the population think they should shut the borders until we're vaccinated. It just makes sense.
I tell you what really gets to me at the moment. I mean, everyone is saying, what I do to go on holiday here, or what I do to get away here. We understand.
It's right to say it.
It's right to say it. But I do think this kind of constant obsession with the idea that we need to get on planes and fly around the world as if it's some God-given right, only because we're in this crisis. It is a God-given right when you've worked hard and you want to head off for your holidays under normal circumstances.
Emma, it's true. It's so annoying when the football has all the leeways. I mean, apparently everybody that goes to the football has to be double vaccinated. First of all, they have to have a test 2 days before and on the day of. So why can't theatres say, okay, if you're double vaccinated, you can come. Why can't they do that? If you can do that for football.
Yeah, Julie says, though, some people want to see family, Mark, though, that don't live in the country. I agree, but we are in exceptional circumstances. And what I think would be really good for this last 4 weeks to make it really kick it to the back, punch it to the back of the net, would be to say no travel whatsoever for the 4 weeks whilst we get control of our vaccination process. And I think everyone could manage 4 weeks. Someone mentioned that he did mention July 29th. I think that was a typo. I think he just kept bumbling. Somebody's just arrived and they want to know what's happened. Yeah, he's just made a mistake. Basically, we are not opening until July 19th. He sees that as he's confident that date won't change. Obviously, it would be changeable if a variant came in, and that's why we're moaning about the fact that they need to close the borders.
He's making an exception for weddings. Weddings can still go ahead. And apparently he's trying to see what he can do for Lloyd Webber and Cinderella.
Yeah, I know, that was very...
what about the other theatres? Is it just Lloyd Webber?
Yeah, it's a particular sort of special treatment. Odd. Heidi Lawrence, we were hoping to go to New York back in January 2020. I won't book anything now until next year. Hopefully, why I don't understand people booking holidays abroad. We're not out of the woods yet. I think the safest thing to do, I recognise, and I hear you when you say that, there are family members. Obviously Zoe, who's a follower, we know that she wants to get to Northern Ireland, to Ireland. But it's outside of those extenuating circumstances. I think we all just have to say we can't have a cheapo holiday abroad in the sun this year. It's just a fact. It's just a
Emma
fact.
McGregor says you don't need jabs to go to the football. Well, we did this on Loose Women today, and they checked the facts, and that last big football match, you had to have double vax.
I'm pretty sure you do,
Yeah.
Good news about weddings, insofar as, invitees over 30 guests you can have. I thought that was kind of good. I think that gave some certainty to people trying to... I think the biggest problem here is that all those industries and barring... Let's put Andrew Lloyd Webber to the side for a minute. There's loads and loads of theatre groups, festivals that are going to struggle now to open. The club industry, I heard...
And what about the tourist industry?
But I heard a statistic today on LBC saying that apparently when we do finally emerge from whatever these restrictions are, a third of all nightclubs that were there will have closed. A third, that's quite substantive. And they reckon that a quarter of pubs will close. Pubs and restaurants, just simply because, as we were saying last time, a healthy percentage of people have decided not to go to them anymore, or just aren't walking through the doors yet. So, it's complicated, but I think it's the right thing.
If what they say is true, I think the way that they explain... Well, explain it, Mark. Say what they said.
Which bit?
Well, so basically,
That's a huge challenge.
Okay, so basically, the reason that we have to wait this 4 weeks is we need to get everyone over 40 double vaxxed.
Oh, I see, in terms of the...
And we need people under to have at least one. So from tomorrow... 24-year-olds can get vaxxed. And yes, it doesn't give them complete protection, but he said it's just another wall against it. If we don't do that over the next 4 weeks, the way that it's exponentially growing, it's doubling every 9 days, the NHS will be completely overwhelmed.
And the point that I think is really interesting about what he said was that Patrick Vallance said, is that this is a race. And this is where I start to get really worried about the overall thing. This is a race between vaccinating and the virus. I understand that. But there was a really good question from, I think it was the Daily Mail actually, or someone, saying, when is the booster programme going to kick in?
Yeah, because we've got that for the autumn.
We're getting frighteningly close. We're getting frighteningly close to the point at which boosters need to happen.
When does the flu jab happen? Because it's probably around then.
We'll start looking around September, October, November time.
September.
And so we are it's getting squeaky bum time there. So in terms of, you're right. They want to get everyone over 40 double vaccinated, so to remove that possibility or reduce it massively. They want as many first vaccinations to have happened for everyone over 18, 20, 22 by the end of July 19th. Then there's the whole discussion around children. But the big thing that worries me is if this is a race with this disease, and they both said, Whitty and Vallance said, we are living with this for our life.
Forever. They said forever.
Is it the first time they've put it like that?
It's the first time they've ever said it.
Yeah, we're going to be living with this forever. But if it is a race between the vaccine and the virus, and we are a country that is at the front of really mounting a successful vaccination campaign, and we're just getting to that squeaky bum moment with it, think of all those countries around the world, and we recognise that we need a global sort of mobilisation and vaccination programme to kind of make sure that it doesn't spread around and get in and all that. That's when I start to fall apart with a kind of brain that sort of says, how the hell is this ever going to work in terms of, certainly in terms of travel?
The one thing that we needed to hear from the G7 summit from all these very wealthy countries was, we are going to produce 12 billion vaccines we're going to vaccinate the world, but we didn't. They said 1 billion. What's that? We all know the line now. It's not over for any of us till it's over for all of us. They should be sorting that out. That is the emergency. How could we not sort that out? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, guys, and the notification bell, because we're live all times of day and night, so you don't miss anything.
Someone there said we're not at the cutting. We are. We have an extraordinarily successful vaccination programme. You cannot in any way, shape or form say that we don't. That is fake news. We really do. It might not be at the levels of Israel, but we have an incredibly, vast, comprehensive and successful, look at the deaths in hospitals. That would not be happening unless there was a successful vaccination programme. So that is fake news that's been peddled by someone on it. The point I'm trying to make is, if we're doing as well as we're doing, we have to do even better. But we can see, just looking around the world, that isn't happening everywhere because they can't afford it everywhere. And the The problem with that is where other variants start to develop. I think the only thing we can control, it's a bit like in recovery speak, make sure that your recovery station on your side of the street is safe. And the only way I can see that this country can be truly certain on July the 19th is to do what we're doing now, keep all the businesses open as we have them, absolutely somehow be more stringent with travel and our borders for 4 weeks, for just 4 weeks.
I think
now.
we should read out, Lee, because this is what a lot of people are thinking. What's the next excuse going to be? Run out of vaccines, another variant, new random peak, effectiveness not as clear. It's a disgrace. We've been here so many times, and every time they change it. But I think that's because every time it's changing.
Oh.
Because it is a novel virus and they don't know what the fuck's going to happen next. But you're right, Lee.
Yeah.
I don't think we've got many more of these that we can sit there and say.
I don't think many people will... I'm just going to have to go over to... Is it coming back? Sorry, we just had to come off Wi-Fi yet again, buffering. We should be back now. I think you're right. I don't think we've got it. But okay, so here's a positive in terms of... I felt Boris was clearly saying at the front there of the whole thing, whatever the circumstances are, we're going to be coming out on July 19th. I think as best as he could have said that.
Well,
he said
he
that.
did then say, as long as there's no big surprises, he did say that.
Well, then the only surprise that we had that spoilt the party for today, for June the 21st, was the fucking Indian variant.
Yeah, but we could have a bloody German variant next week.
Isle of Wight variant.
Who knows?
Oh, God. Ibrahim Khan, let's all be very clear about this. The fault lies with Boris and his leadership on the red list decision to India. Totally agree.
I totally
And Chris
agree.
Whitty's fucking flowchart confirmed that. You could see the Kent variant trickling out.
There he goes. There it is.
Oh.
There it is. He said we would have lifted restrictions by the 21st.
He said it.
I think he
Sharon
said
Bryant
it
says there
because-
might be a Cornish variant.
Yeah, I think he said it because he probably advised them to shut down the borders to India way before.
Look, Heather Cromack, remember when we thought this would all be over by last summer?
Oh, don't.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But Lee, I think we are... My personal take on this is we are definitely going to be opening up on July 19th. There will be... I think we're on the verge of a revolution.
I predict we will be opening by the 19th as well.
Yeah, I do.
I do.
I think it's going to happen. It's going to have to happen. I think we're going to hit a bit of a squeaky bum moment again in October, November, always around our birthdays, I'm afraid. Do you remember that's when the lockdown kicked in? I think there's going to be a bit of a moment there. There's going to be an existential moment where we all pause and we go,
Yeah.
There's going to be a moment of vertigo. We're going to have spiritual vertigo in November. I can guarantee it. And you're all going to say, oh, do you remember when you mentioned that? I think November, there's going to be a bit of a... Yeah. And I just think that's going to be about the sheer I don't envy the government. The sheer logistics of getting a booster system out. Because
It means they won't stop. It means they'll just be on a continuous roll of vaccines.
But whilst you boost and whilst you repel, the virus will be trying to innovate and adjust around these things. You know, it's incredibly complicated what they're trying to do. Incredibly complicated. But there we go. So we thought we'd touch base with you guys. Emma Carter, I bloody hope so. We need something to bring us some kind of happy moments. Absolutely. Jessica Woodstock, it's just crazy. It's like the government have no common sense, close the fucking borders, aren't politicians meant to be clever? Very good question there. Dawn Decker, I'm planning to move back to the UK at the end of the year from the USA and feel a tad more confident in British handling and cautiousness.
That's a good point, because this is what I was saying to Mark. We have had a really tough pandemic in this country. We have locked down longer than anybody else. We've had restrictions longer than anybody else. We've had a really severe pandemic. We've had a huge amount of deaths and long COVID. I think we have the highest long COVID.
Yeah, we do.
We've had a really shit time. Now, what I don't understand is, why are all the other countries now doing what they want? I mean, America, there aren't restrictions in America, and double vaccinated people can do whatever they want and don't have to wear masks. Now, if you think about America and the size of it and the different states and everything, just a variant in one state moving to another state could be the equivalent of variants coming. So what's going on?
No, I know what you mean. But, are you factually accurate that other countries are as open as you seem to think they are? Or are you just seeing images?
Oh, I mean, they're saying things like, oh, all flights are open again and pack your bags for your holidays and It's very different to here.
Guys, is there anyone here from various countries? Is it in America, for example? Is it as free and open? I mean, it feels like it is. Everyone's kind of heading out and just doing what the fuck they want. So it seems. I mean, maybe not. Yes, you're absolutely right. A green-fingered hell has landed. My God, I forgot. Yeah, that was scheduled for 7. I thought we'd be way past this by 7.
Leggy Blonde, the US are learning to live with it like we should.
Rossach, do you think it's to do with how heavily populated we are?
No, I tell you what I think it's to do with. I think it's to do with we have run down the NHS till it is a completely broken system. And this is about saving the NHS, right? The NHS, that the government, I think other countries have better health provisions than we do.
Does America
Some of them
have better health provisions for huge swathes of America?
No,
they don't.
It's free. It's
no,
not free.
No. I mean, I think in Europe you could possibly argue that, but
Italy, France, Germany, they all have a better health system than we do, don't they?
But you could argue, to sustain a health system in the eventuality of what we're going through is almost unsustainable. Yeah. The opposite end of the spectrum is what do you do?
Netherlands, everything has reopened, but still with some restriction.
Right, Miranda Reuter.
Well, everything is opened here with some restriction.
Yeah.
Well, no, clubs haven't.
The US, wow, are you closing in on 600,000 deaths? Wow, that's quite a figure, isn't it? I mean, I think maybe it is about risk tolerance, isn't it? And they said that a long time ago.
Well, I wondered what people thought about Theresa May's comments today. Did anybody see it? I was quite surprised from Theresa May. She said, we are going to have to live alongside this. If we lock down for this variant, we're going to end up locking down for every variant because the variants are going to keep on coming. Very strong for Theresa. Did anyone see that? What did you think?
Leggy Blonde Jen says, let people decide for themselves now. If you want to mix, mix. If you want to shield, shield. Yeah, I mean, Heidi Lawrence, to hear that it's 80% more transferable is very worrying. Same here in Germany as the Netherlands. There are still restrictions.
And Bonilla, yes, pretty free here. I think that's America. Per the CDC, you don't have to wear a mask if you're vaccinated. See, You're not getting any benefits for being vaccinated here.
Donna Gray, I live in Madrid, Spain, and I believe we had the stricter and toughest lockdown. What's it like now, though, Donna?
You did for a while, that's for sure,
right.
but not now.
Freer now? Shouldn't we reach points, as Erin, where where people take personal responsibility on how to respond to the virus? If you have the jab, then you should be protected.
And then get the information and look after yourself.
Well, I think that's where we're going to have to get to. We're going to have to get... And I personally believe, unless there's a terrible variant, or the Indian variant becomes suddenly really even more malevolent, I think that's where we're going to be on July the 19th. I think it will be different, though, again in November, because, again, there'll have been time for... this is the concern about opening the borders, even going back to... if we go back to any semblance of normality, say we go, right, no holidaying now, and everyone goes, oh, well, okay, and we all sit down and we go, oh, okay, well, that's all right, we'll holiday in autumn or in the new year. Isn't there going to be a tipping point that at that point, whenever that point happens, that's when it's going to start to spread again? Isn't it?
Oh, look, studio audiences have returned in America.
Wow.
Thanks for that, Chelsea girl. Hope you're still with us, Lee.
Yep.
Oh, Lee, when are we going to have our audience back?
Jessica Woodstock, my uncle lives in Taiwan, and they were fine until some pilot and his friends went to a brothel, got COVID and spread it literally everywhere. What a knob. Oh my God. What a knob.
Miss One Tricia, weddings are going to be so badly affected. They have to follow social distancing. So most will have to restrict their numbers of guests, so not the best of news. Yeah,
oh, really?
I suppose so. Yeah, he did say you've got to socially distance. Oh, for God's sake.
What about dancing? And first,
well, exactly.
I mean, you've got to dance badly at a wedding. I mean, that's the whole point.
And then if the people at the venue's got to police the social distancing, come and say, oh, I think you're a bit close.
God, that's what you were doing there. That was really made me jump. I mean, it's de rigueur, isn't it, on weddings to fall over tables and walk into the furniture, knock someone over, tear their dress off, have a snog.
How are they going to have a snog?
How are they going to have snogs without a bloody...
Can't hug, can't kiss.
Anyway.
What's that about Germany? I want to know about Germany. Germany doesn't necessarily have a better health system. It's very expensive every month, is it, Sabrina? Yeah, I shouldn't really say that. I don't know anything about what I'm talking about.
Okay. Well... there we go, guys. We thought we'd
Thanks
touch base
so much.
with you all.
Hit the subscribe button, guys,
Yeah.
and the notification bell, because we do all sorts of things on this channel. If you're here for the first time, just have a bit of a scoot around the channel.
Yeah. And a green-fingered hell has just landed. I'd scheduled it for 7, so if you fancy watching me and Nanny Di and a little moment from Nadia in the garden, really not knowing what the hell we're doing, but kind of muscling through and doing something.
Yeah, go and watch that. It will take you away from all of this nonsense. A nice bit of escapism.
Yeah. Guys, stay safe. See you in the morning.
Love ya.